Erica. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so glad you're here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
Oh my gosh, it is my pleasure. It's so funny. I have all these internet friends that have just been amazing supports to ministry things and just such a great encouragement. And it's so cool. You're one of those people. I haven't even met you in person, but
Oh, thank you.
I'm just so grateful to the Lord that he's brought you into my life. And I'm so excited about what he is doing in and through you right now through Faith and Gather. It's so exciting that this is out there in the world, and yeah, I'm just really excited for you.
Oh, thank you so much. And yeah, I feel the same way. Just because of COVID, obviously, we've never been able to meet. And we
I
actually
know.
met through a mutual, it's an acquaintance for me, and I think a good friend of
Yeah,
yours, because I just posted something on Facebook, and then we connected from there, and we've just developed this great
I
relationship. And it's just so
know.
amazing how God can use technology
I know.
to continue to move His kingdom and help those who are in it and grow it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with the internet. I think a lot of people do, where
Same
it's
here.
we love it, but we also just hate it. And but it's so amazing how the Lord, especially through COVID and through social distancing, He's actually given me amazing friendships and prayer partners through this time. And I mean, it's cool because we live in the same city, but we still haven't met each other.
I know, it's so funny.
It's
I
crazy.
think
God is so good.
he is so good. I think one of the blessings, that I found is that by being able to slow down and not, have like for me, it was a bunch of events or networking or, filling
Yeah.
my time with things that I just didn't need to do, but I felt like I
Hmm.
should. Now I'm able to really like kind of sift through, so to speak, the clutter and connect with the people that I really
Yeah,
need to have those meaningful connections with.
absolutely.
Not to say that, we need to be very aware that God can work through you when you're meeting strangers and going to networking events or whatever it may be. But it's been really easy for me to make those meaningful connections now that I'm just not so focused on the things that the world is calling me to do, where I can be more focused on what God's calling me to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, kind of like eliminating that noise because obviously we can learn so much from experts and how to build something the natural way, but a lot of times the Lord is leading us to do something different and to do it kind of the
Hmm.
kingdom way, which I love that is how the Lord is calling you and how He has called you to begin Faith and Gather. But what I would love to do before we touch on that and before we talk about that for my listeners just to hear a little bit about what fills your days. What do you do for fun? Share family things, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So who is Erica? That is a good question. What do
Yeah.
I do? I think Erica now, it actually isn't very different than Erica pre-COVID. So I work.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
Well, first off, I am a mother of a 2-year-old boy. So I'm full into toddler stage. So
Oh my
it's
gosh.
been kind of a blessing. And well, COVID is not a blessing, but there are things that have come
Hmm.
out of COVID that are blessings. But for me, life hasn't changed very much. If you have a 2-year-old, or you've had a 2-year-old, you understand that you aren't going out and doing very much other than like going to playgrounds
Right.
or, finding things that they like to do. You're not doing a ton of restaurants. You're not doing
Hmm.
um, a ton of things that you normally would do
Not a lot of
if you were
staying up
single.
late and
Exactly.
that
No,
kind
yeah,
of
it's
thing.
a lot of
Yep.
waking up early, going to bed early. So like my life really hasn't changed very much on that front.
Yeah.
I have been just filled with so much joy during this time to watch him
Mm,
grow up and have that time to actually sit there and just look at him, and just
that's so
admire
cool.
the creation that God has given me. And he was a miracle baby. And so it's just
Mhm.
more time to be able to spend looking at him and getting to know my husband. And my mom lives with us as well. So getting to know
Awesome.
her, and just we've built this great little tight knit community within our home. And it's just been really cool to see how we've developed and how we've actually flourished. I mean, we've had
Mhm.
some hard times during COVID, as everybody has, being cooped up
Yeah.
inside. But for the most part, I'd say, we're flourishing in that, which is amazing.
That is
Um,
so, so cool. Like I've talked with a lot of people that that's the case, and I know that that's not That's not everybody. This, the last year has been the hardest year for so many people's lives. The
Mhm.
hardest year, but it is also in every hard situation, the Lord is always giving us an opportunity to connect and connect with one another. We may have to change that. It's not going to look like going to restaurants, but it can also be, he's also calling us to connect with him in a deeper way. And so I just love that.
Mhm.
I love that you've responded in that way and you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to take this time and watch my son grow and connect with my mom and connect with my husband. It's awesome.
Thank you. And yeah, it doesn't always go that way. Will tell
Oh,
you
yeah.
that. This morning I read a verse and I'm forgetting what it was, but something came to my head and I was doing my prayer and I said, Lord, just, help me be the hands and feet of
Mm,
you today. And I thought like, well, how am I going to do that? I don't really see anybody right now. And then it went to, well, your husband, your son, and your mother. Like,
mm, yeah.
spend that's where you need to be the hands and feet. Where I think in my head, just being a natural connector, networker, I always think like the people on the outside. And sometimes I forget about the
Yeah.
inside. So that's been really beautiful about COVID is like, going back to the basics
Yeah.
for me. So that's been really nice.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
you're,
then I think, oh,
go
sorry.
ahead.
So, yep, I think the other part of me, I am the founder of Faith and Gather, which is an organization that is just for all Christian women. It's a good, safe place to come
Mhm.
and get connected to Christian women. It started out of a dream that that started really when my son was born, and my sister and I started doing some life groups at church and doing
Cool.
some YouTube videos. And it was really, really fun and exciting. And then we kind of went our separate ways, nothing bad, just, she got busy with her passions and I got
Yeah.
busy being a mom, but I still had that desire to want to, God had this burning desire in me. Like, and I just kept being like, God, you put this on my heart and it is still
Right.
burning in me. Like,
Right.
what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go with this? And nothing would come. And it came about, it took probably about 9 months or so of just sitting in that. And all of a sudden, he put this coaching group in front of me and the light
Mhm.
bulbs just started like going off of what I needed to do. And that was to create a platform for Christian women to come for information on anything that related to
Yeah.
their life. So there's a
That's so
lot of thank you. There's a lot of secular um, websites out there come to mind like Mind Body Green and some other ones, which they're
Mhm.
great. They have great information, but they're more spiritual than they are based in the Christian faith. So you're
Yeah.
dealing with a lot of things that we know as Christians don't bring us that hope, peace, and joy, like crystals and
Right.
different methods of meditation. I think meditation is great, as a Christian when you're meditating on the scripture and the word, but
Yeah. Yep.
it can't be about yourself.
Right.
And there's,
Or about emptying your mind either. Like there's an aspect of that is great to still our mind, but like
yes,
that part of completely emptying ourself is not that's not based in scripture. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it's not about you. It's about, your
Exactly.
connection with God
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
God and
Yeah.
worship. And so, there wasn't, and I'm in, like to say a little bit of a naturalist. So I like to,
Mhm.
eat as healthy as I can and use natural products and
Yep.
all that fun stuff. And I've just found it hard to find a place for to go for that stuff. So
Yeah.
so what Faith and Gather really is a place for women to come and share their personal stories on anything and everything, but
That's
also to
awesome.
come just to get filled in every area of their
Mm.
life. So yeah, and we open it up to any woman. So if you are a writer and you're looking for an opportunity to write your story, like we are a platform for you. We find that so often you have to already have this credibility and all these articles published to even get published on a
Mhm.
website. We don't believe in that. We believe that every woman has a story. So if you're a writer and you want to share your story, even if you're not a writer, but you have a wonderful story to share,
Mhm.
you can have that connection with us. And on top of that, we are going to be launching a faith inspired podcast,
Yeah, you
which is super
are.
exciting. Super, super exciting. So just getting started with that. And so that will be more
And I think
highlighting. Oh,
no,
yeah.
I was gonna say, I think that will probably be out by the time this is out. So we'll
Yes.
be linking all of that information in the show notes for everyone to go and please subscribe. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Thank you.
fun.
Love that. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
faith inspired podcast, but that'll be a place for Christian women to come to get, and again, get filled up. But
Yeah.
the guests on that show will be Christian women business owners who are
Cool.
talking about how they can help Christian women again in different areas of life. So
Mhm.
I've already interviewed a woman who talked about the vision for 2021 and how to create your vision and your goals.
Hmm.
And then spoke with another woman who, Diane, who has just this amazing story of redemption. She was a director at a huge toy company, living the life of the rich and famous. Was secretly a drug addict because in that world of that company, drugs were just running rampant, and her
Yeah.
family thought she had an amazing life, and then she had this encounter with God and her life was fully transformed. So it was just in her story of forgiveness and
Mm.
everything that goes along with it. And then I hope to have things about fashion and lifestyle and
Cool.
things that like
Yeah.
women like it
Totally.
doesn't have to
Yeah.
be it doesn't always have to be those raw true stories, which are just so good to have for our soul,
Mhm.
but at the same time there's other things that are a part of us that, I like to decorate and I
Yeah.
like to bake and those kind of things. So it's really
So
kind of any
important.
topic. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
that's
So
so awesome. I'm interested to hear that this time you said you've mentioned that there was about 9 months that the Lord kind of laid this desire on your heart for more. And there was this time of kind of waiting on that, and then you had this coaching opportunity. A lot of what we talk about in this podcast is that time of waiting, of that kind of that in between point. What is the Lord calling us to do? What does active waiting look like? And I would love to hear what that process was for you. In knowing that there's more, feeling that desire that there's more than this. Not that there's anything wrong with where you were or where you were sitting, but I would love to hear how the Lord was calling you to that in that time of waiting.
yeah, I think, that period was tough as it is for everybody. I think um just that yearning of knowing that there's more and that he's drawing me to it, but not knowing what it was really hard for me. I am definitely a 3 on the Enneagram. So like
Mhm.
I like control, I like
Yep.
organization, I want things to go the way as planned. I like to think that I can roll with the punches, which I can, but when it comes to my life, it's a little different.
You want a little bit more
Um,
control.
yeah, a little more control, and yeah, so definitely type A with that. And so that was tough because I literally had no idea what he was calling
Yeah.
me to do. I knew it had something to do with women. I knew it had to be something to do with sharing my faith, sharing life stories, but I
Yeah.
didn't know how. My sister and I started off by wanting to do a podcast, and then we just did videos because the podcast at that time just seemed too much for us.
Right.
And then it ended. And it wasn't a bad end. It was just, this isn't working. It's not the right
Hmm.
time to do it. Life's a little crazy. Um, and so it was a lot of time of prayer and a
Yeah.
lot of time of really crying out to God and like kind of angrily being like, Lord,
Yeah.
like you put this on my heart. Like, what the heck are you doing
Yeah.
here? Like,
Right. Right.
I'm
Where is
ready.
it? Where
Where
is
is it?
it?
I'm ready. I'm willing. Like, I need you.
Mhm.
This is this is your gift that you're giving me.
Right.
And I know it's a gift and I just don't know what it is. And that was so hard because I just kept having that burning and yearning for more. And at this time, like and so what I didn't say about myself is that I work for another company as well, and a
Mhm.
company that I just love and adore. My boss is absolutely amazing, and she's been so supportive of Faith and Gather and just what I'm doing with that. And so I was sitting there with this beautiful son, amazing husband, great job, and I'm like, why do I just have this yearning to know that
Yeah.
I want more? And that's hard to
Right.
sit with because I have it good,
Right. And we
and
know
so
that also, like, we're supposed to find our satisfaction in the Lord and
yes.
in him and in the and yes, it's amazing to have the gifts that we have, like family and children and a great job, but we're still supposed to find our satisfaction in him. But then when we're feeling a discontentment and even like a change that is supposed to be coming, that can feel that can feel wrong in some ways,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Because we're
Yep.
supposed to find our satisfaction in him.
Exactly. And so it's just that battle of that
Yeah.
um y- different feelings that you're having at different
Right.
times, and then that just creates more anxiety and chaos in your head.
Right.
And
Right.
so it really was, I would love to say that I handled it well, but I don't think I didn't handle it badly, but I didn't handle it the way,
Hmm.
I would perceive us to need to be handling those situations. It was a lot of communication back and forth with God and really begging and
Hmm.
pleading for him to give it to me. But, I know through experiences in my life that God gives you things when um in his time. And I know that
Right.
sounds so
Right.
cliche and we always say that, but holy moly, I have so many experiences in life
Yeah.
where he really delivered when he needed to deliver. I mean, even I think of my husband. I mean, had
Mhm.
I married the men that I had prayed for him to have delivered to me and marry me, like I'd be
Uh-huh.
miserable right now. Like he would I would be miserable, to be honest with you. And
Yeah.
now I just have this amazing man that I prayed for, and every single quality has I
Mm.
prayed for, and I'm just so thankful for him. And so, you know, it's all in God's timing for sure.
Right.
Yeah. So sorry, I'm losing track of where I was going with
No,
that.
no, no, no. This is so good. So you're in this time of waiting, and then the Lord is acting, or the Lord drops this coaching program in your lap. And did this feel like the answer to that prayer, or was that or yeah, how did that feel for you?
So it's kind of funny. So on Facebook and Instagram, I'm sure you see all the time, there are a bunch of free master classes or
Yeah.
webinars and that kind of thing. And I saw one come through for Christian entrepreneurs, and I was like, oh, I don't know, this looks okay. So I signed up because I was like, well, whatever. I'll attend for the first 20 minutes, and if this seems more like a scam or it's just not really well done, I'll get off of it. It was something
Yeah.
for 7 days, like every other day, and I attended the first one and it just started to spark a fire in me.
Hmm.
And I attended all 7 days, which was tough, juggling the full-time job and trying
Yeah.
to figure out what to do. Well, not technically a full-time, but we're getting
Hey,
there.
yeah, yeah.
um, and it was just it just lit a fire in me. In that
Hmm.
coaching, it had me create, a vision and a plan for the year. It had me write a letter of how I envision a year from now, what my life will be. And
Hmm.
now having that path to follow, it really just gave me direction. And at that time, it was God's timing that he brought me the coaching, and then
Yeah.
two, during being forced through some of the questions that they were asking and things that I had to answer and really focus on, I was able to find those light bulb moments of like, this is where God's leading me, and this is what Faith and Gather should become. And
Yeah.
it was just really, really exciting. And the ball got rolling. And through that program, I was able to launch within 60 days for my
Oh my
business,
gosh,
which
that's
was
incredible.
crazy. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was crazy, and it was a lot of hard work, but by the
Yeah.
grace of God, I was able to find somebody to do my website, two people, one person to get it started and had faith in me and just did it pro bono. And the second person
Wow.
came along by someone I knew, and they're doing it for just a good price for someone who's just starting
Yeah.
off. And so God's just brought these amazing connections to get this started. And
Praise the Lord.
it's been amazing, but it's also been really tough. I mean, like we walked through this and talked through this, but
Mhm.
my company has had 3 different names.
Yeah.
And it's been, I think I launched December 7th, and now, we're in January, almost February. And so not that long. It's been like 2
Yeah.
months, and it's had 3 different names. So I started off with Our Pineapple Life, which is what my sister and I had
Mhm.
decided would be our name. And at that time, there wasn't any kind of conflict of any kind of issues with trademark, or
Yeah.
there was somebody who had Pineapple Life that was like a yoga studio, and we were doing faith in God. So like it had
Yeah.
nothing to do with that.
And
Well,
it wasn't in
then
the area, right? Like
it
it
wasn't in the
was yeah.
area. It was fine. And um, then, as God gave me this vision, it really morphed into it spanning, all different topics
Yeah.
of a woman's life, which does include health and fitness, which, big picture, I would like to have like, maybe a meditation app or like a
Mhm.
fitness channel, that's all
Cool.
focused
Yeah.
on faith and like, doing work. I'm huge into working out. So like
Yeah.
as you're working out, like hearing scriptures, that kind of thing. And
Right.
so for
What
me,
if
I was
your
like,
workout
shoot,
is worship?
exactly, exactly. And honestly, a lot of times when I'm working out, they'll say things and I'm like, that actually the root of what you're saying stems in the Bible. But they
Right.
don't realize that encouraging
Mhm.
statement that they're making while you're sweating away. And so it just makes me think like that's something that I could do.
Mhm.
So at that time I was like, I just feel uneasy in my heart. I feel like I should reach out to a lawyer to discuss like, if there is overlap on this. And after discussing
Yep.
it with them and working with them, we found that, there is quite a bit of overlap. So even the differentiator of just hour in front of Pineapple Life
Yeah.
isn't gonna do it.
Right.
And so
Right.
that was so disheartening for me because like if you look at my house, I have pineapples like all over my house because that was my symbol of like
Ugh.
just a life of excellence and
Yeah.
the gift that God was going to give me and had started to give me. And so that was just really a huge blow right off the bat,
Hmm.
right before I
Yeah,
was
that
going
must
to
have been really
launch.
discouraging.
It was. And honestly, when I had that conversation with the lawyer, I think it was like 3 days prior, I had just filed for my LLC. So I had
Ugh.
waited 2 years, with this dream
Yeah.
in my heart, just
Right.
filed the LLC, and then boom, there goes the name.
Yeah.
So that was really tough. And it took a couple weeks to get over that one. And as anyone will know, when you're searching for a name for a company, there are not a lot of options out there.
No, there's
You
not. It's
really,
not
you
easy. It's not
not
easy.
easy.
Yeah.
Not easy at all. And you have to like make up a name now because all the other regular names and phrases are out there. You'll think of something that's so unique and then you're like, what? How is
How
that
did
even
somebody else think of
possible?
that?
Yeah. Or the ones that aren't taken are like literally $20,000 to buy the
Ugh.
URL. So you just kind of get a little disheartened with
Yeah, it's
that.
really
So
hard.
it is super hard. And so that was tough to try to find another name. And then I landed on one where I thought, okay, this will work. I was really praying to God, like, God, I know you're going to give me this name. Like I know it's just going to come straight from you. You're going to give me this name. It's going to be one of those epiphany kind of sign moments. Like I
Yeah.
truly believe that. But I had landed and found Truth and Gather. And I liked it. And so eventually, like, down the road, it stuck with me. I still wasn't hearing really clearly from God and the launch date was coming. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, Lord, like I haven't heard from you. I'm just going to go with this and I can always change it if you tell me. And
Yeah.
when I had done my research with Truth and Gather, there was a URL that was like Truth and Gather, but nobody had ever posted on it ever. And
Right.
it was truth underscore and underscore gather. So as a marketer, I know like that's tough for people to go to a website like that. And
Yep.
truth and gather, just truthandgather.com was open. So I'm like, oh, they just must not be that serious about this. And then the Instagram handle was taken, but there was no posts, nothing. And there hadn't been for months this whole time. So I thought, it might just be like a dream somebody had and it just kind
Mhm.
of
Yeah.
fizzled, or people will buy things up just to buy them up or grab them. So that was my thought. So I'm moving ahead. My website is getting built. Um, I'm literally 5 days away from launch. And I go to look at Instagram to just like check hashtag truth and gather. And there was one hashtag truth and gather. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's really weird. So I click on it. And the individual who had this handle and this URL had posted for the first time ever. And I was just heartbroken,
Yeah.
heartbroken because I had been working so hard, working my job, working, being a mom, working on Faith and Gather, getting up early, late
Yeah.
nights,
Right.
being a wife, a daughter, all those things. And I was just exhausted before
Yeah.
then. And then this huge blow came after already having to change my name. I was like, you have got to be kidding me,
Right.
Lord.
The
And I
timing of
just,
this just feels so
yes,
wrong.
so wrong, so
So
wrong. Like,
wrong.
you have to be kidding me. And I just started bawling. And I'm going to be honest, I just started yelling at him. I was like, you
Yeah.
have got to be kidding me. Like, you gave me this dream. I am working so
Yeah.
hard on this right now. Like, what is going on here? Like,
Mhm.
I don't get it, Lord. Like I feel like I'm doing the right things that I'm supposed to be
Right,
doing, but like,
right.
why do these things keep happening? And, you're told in life that like, if you're doing something good for God, like Satan's going to try to come at you and he's going to
Mhm.
try to take you down. And that is what he was doing. And he was trying to take me down and he got a little bit of me. But what he doesn't know is that my mom raised me to be a very strong, independent woman. And like
Come on.
in moments like this,
Yeah,
I stand strong and I'm like, like not
yeah,
today. This is not going to happen. Like,
right,
I
and I'm not
may
gonna
be
give in to the disappointment of
exactly
this.
like
Yeah,
I can feel these feelings, but I'm not going to let
yep,
it get me down. And
absolutely.
um, so long story short, I did end up through, that whole week I was before the launch, I was praying, I was asking people like for guidance,
Yeah.
Lord, give me a new name, and a new name didn't come. And I got like what I say, like a sign from God to call a woman the morning of the launch. And she said, Erica, you just need to launch with Truth and Gather because right now all they have is just a couple posts on Instagram. And I feel like people just need to hear your message. So I launched and I felt peace in that morning of launching. I really did. And Ellie, you had sent me
Mhm.
like God
Yeah.
had told you to like send me a text. And literally like 5 minutes after I did that, like you sent me a text and just said like stay strong. And I really feel like that was from
Mhm.
God just to make me feel at peace about that. And I do believe that was right for me to launch that morning and just get it out because it needed to be done. I just needed to get out. But for a week, then I just could not sleep. And every morning I woke up and just felt restless. And all day I
Hmm.
felt restless. And my husband was like, you've got to get over this. This is just kind of
Yeah,
taking
yeah.
over your life right now. And I didn't feel right. And at that time I looked and Faith and Gather was open. And
Mhm.
that just made more sense to me because although I believe, God's word is truth, my whole life is based off of faith and having faith that
Yeah.
God is going to pull through and having hope for a good future and that he'll get you
Yeah.
through whatever circumstance it is and bring people into your life
Come on.
who will help with that. So, that just really rang true. And I had to kind of go with my tail between my legs and go to my web guy and be like, hey, all that great work you just did? I need you to change everything to say Faith and Gather. And so,
Yeah.
so he did that for me.
That's
And on
amazing.
top of that, I had just like literally 3 days before changing to Faith and Gather, I had put it all out on social media, told everybody what I was doing,
Yeah.
sent them to the website. And now I had to tell them, like, hey, oops, I'm changing my name. And,
Yeah.
that was just such a moment of obedience for me because
Right, right.
God was telling me, this isn't the right name for you. This is the name you should use. But I had to be so completely vulnerable. And just, I was just kind of embarrassed, but I had to get through the feelings of like what other people are going to think about me
Yes.
and know that like I need to follow what God is telling me to do and be
100%.
obedient to him. So this
It's
whole
amazing.
journey of Faith and Gather has been quite a roller coaster, so amazing and wonderful. But I mean, just from the very beginning, it was like,
Yeah.
whoa, getting
Yeah.
getting beat down a little bit.
What I just love as an aspect of your story is how the Lord was with you every step of that way, and he often wasn't it from what you just described, he often wasn't making himself super clear in some of those moments that he was
Hmm.
with you in that time of knowing that you had a physical deadline, this earthly deadline of like, I am going to launch this day. And the Lord works with those deadlines 100%. But he also is outside of that. And he's like, I'm gonna work all of this together so that Erica fully depends on me.
Hmm.
I love that. I love that about your story that even you had those couple days where you were like, Lord, I just need an answer. I need to know what to do. And he was quiet.
Yeah.
He was quiet, but in everything, in all of his timing, he always makes himself known when we depend on him. And it didn't look like the natural way of doing it. You had to like naturally give birth, not physically, but
Yeah.
in the
To my
metaphorical sense
business. Yep. Yep.
to the
For
business.
sure.
Like, it's time. This needs to come out because there is something so powerful about just releasing something, of letting it out there in the natural, but then in the spiritual, the Lord made the name clear, that it's not going to look like always the way that we're supposed to be doing it, but the Lord gave you the name in his time. That is
Yeah, and
amazing.
it is amazing. And you know what's so beautiful about that is just knowing my personality. If I had not gone with Truth and Gather to start,
Mhm.
I would have always wondered, what if?
Yeah.
That's just my personality of like, oh, did I not hear him right?
Mhm.
And I think I truly believe that he knew that about me,
Yeah.
that I needed to just launch with that, and I still needed to sit in
Hmm.
the uncomfortability of it. And now being with Faith and Gather, it's like 100%. Now when I think of Truth and Gather, I'm like, no,
That
that's
wasn't the
not
right name.
that wasn't the right name. But had I
Yeah.
just switched to Faith and Gather, I always would have wondered, oh,
Mm.
is that the right name? And so, he also knows things about you that you don't think about, and do that. And he really was
100%.
there. I forgot this beautiful part was I launched on a Monday, and that Sunday I went down after church and went up and had a couple pray for me. And
Mhm.
the woman was like, after they had prayed with me and I told them some stuff, she's like, I just see a basket. She's like, I
Mm.
don't know why. I don't know if that has anything with the gather, but I just see a basket. And then my son, when we got in the car from church, said basket. And he had a bucket, like a little pail, and he always says bucket, but for whatever reason, he said basket that day. And then he said it a couple other times at home, and I was like, that just okay. And I was like, interesting, but I don't understand what that means, Lord.
Yeah.
And the next morning I was just so distraught. I'm like, Lord, I still don't
Mm.
have this name. I have to launch today. And we have this wooden cross that was given to us in at our wedding. And it's usually in our bedroom. And sometimes our kiddo will play with it and we'll
Mhm.
just put it back. Well, for whatever reason, whoever had taken it away from him had ended up putting it in our basket on our buffet. So I'm
Mm.
sitting at our kitchen table and I look straight ahead and I'm like, Lord, I just don't know. And sitting there was the wooden cross in the basket.
Mm.
And it was just like this beautiful moment and display, even though in that time I still didn't have the name and I still felt super just kind of like broken inside about that, or
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
in
so
distress.
in distress. That's exactly
Yeah.
what it was, just in distress. He was showing up saying, like, It's me, it's me
Right, right,
in this basket, like, it's
right.
all about me." And I should have
100%.
probably known at that time that it was probably the faith faith and gather might be the option there, but, that was just a moment where even though I didn't get my clear answer at that time, it was a clear sign that he was with me
Mm.
because, that woman spoke that word of, "I just think of a basket," and there it was, the
Hmm.
actual physical basket in front of me with this cross
That's amazing.
sitting in it, reminding me that
Right.
this is God and he's got it, and he's going to handle it all, and I just have to
100%.
believe in him and be along for the ride.
Right, right, and what I love is that in these moments of distress, because it can feel like just sort of this inner turmoil of like, I just need an answer. And whether it's
Mhm.
finding the name of a business, or deciding to proceed with a divorce, or whatever
Mhm.
it is, there can be these moments where you're just like, I just need a sign, I just need something to know what to do. Like, Lord, will you just speak through the clouds and tell me this thing? And I
Uh-huh.
mean, everyone can relate to that, right? Like, it may not be this situation of finding a name for a business, but we can all relate to just this inner turmoil of trying to make a decision and just needing to move forward. But one thing that the Lord has always been so clear with me about is that he wants me to want him more than I want the answer.
Mm.
He's always wanting us to need his heart and need him more than we need the security and the relief of having the answer. And that's
Mhm.
always available for us. Of that's constantly available in whatever season we're in. We can have security and stability in Jesus in that waiting process. And yes, sometimes deadlines are need to be made. They need to be like releases do need to happen. There can still be confusion, but the Lord is so faithful to then give us the answer in time. And the faith that the Lord has built in you, I mean, it absolutely makes sense that that's your business name. But the
Thank
faith that
you.
he has built in you just through this name is beautiful because this is his testimony, this is the testimony of the Lord and how he has brought this business to be. And I know so securely that this is going to be a blessing to other people. And even just this testimony of this waiting period, wherever anybody is in this time of sitting and saying, Lord, I just need an answer. I need to know. He's so faithful to be sitting with us in it. Man,
He
that's
is so
just
faithful.
that's so, so good. That's so
It
good.
it is so good, and I think something that comes to mind when you're saying that is I am I'm a person who, I hate to say sees signs, but I do, like, I see,
Yeah.
like, I just God speaks to me in certain ways. God speaks to all of us in
Yeah.
certain ways, like, and that He knows how He can, get our attention, and so a
Right.
lot of times it comes in signs to me. But I've realized as I've gotten older, I've used that kind of as a crutch, and
Hmm.
now it's led to some confusion. And right now I'm reading through the New Testament, and over and over and over again in Matthew and Mark and Luke, it says, Jesus says, um, basically paraphrasing, like, you humans, you always look for the signs.
Right.
And, like, that's just been digging at my heart,
Right.
and I think during that time, whether I knew it or not, I was looking for God to give me a sign when He was there the whole time and He was gonna provide for me, but I expected this absolute, like, I need a miracle when
Mm.
He's already given me a bunch of miracles to show that He's actually gonna be faithful to me,
Whew.
He's just like, He's
Powerful.
already done that, and that was at that time, in Jesus's time, they kept asking him for signs. Well, he
Yeah.
literally just healed a blind man right in front of you. He's done all
Yeah.
these things, and yet you're still asking for all these signs to show that, like, he's the Messiah. And that just brings it so true to, like, nowadays and in what I do. Like, I'm always looking for these signs and show me a sign, give me that feeling. And I just have to trust that he's there and he's taking care of
Yep.
it, and that I don't need those signs to prove that, he's gonna handle it and make it work for the good.
Yeah. When we mature in our faith, I find, at least for me, when I've matured in my faith, the Lord will speak to me different ways. And sometimes I don't know how to hear him in that way. And I get confused. But
Mhm.
what he's always doing is wanting, like I said, he wants us to want him more than we want the answer, more than we want the sign, more than we want the feeling. And so we have to he'll speak to us where we have to lean in a little bit closer, where we have to tune our ears a little bit more, and where we have to wait and sit, before that security or like that feeling comes. He's so faithful to give us peace because he's the Prince of Peace, but we
Mhm.
have to want him more than we want the peace.
That's
Wow.
so good, Ellie, when you said, just like how you had said, in my maturity, I don't hear him the way that I used to, or he speaks differently to me. And I think that, like, I'm just so aware of that now, as you said that, like, that's where I am right now with my faith. I'm having a hard time hearing him because I believe I probably have, add a little more maturity to the
Mhm.
relationship. And now, instead of expecting what he's given me before, to expect him something that he hasn't provided me yet, which is this new level of communication with him, and
Yeah.
that I need to seek him out more. And um, I don't know, just give him the glory and understand that he can take me just on a new level.
Yeah, we go from glory to glory. And I think of the verse in Isaiah 46 where it says, Behold, I'm doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the desert. And I think that that's what the Lord is doing. He is doing a new thing. And we have to, and I love that that verse says, Do you not perceive it? It's like, don't you know that it's there? He's always working. He promises to never leave us or forsake us. But the way that he's working, the way he's speaking often changes. And I think that that really is for our good. and for our faith building. And it's clear that that's what God how God has built this story and this testimony through this business, that he didn't give you the easy answer. He didn't give you just the easy road with this, but that's his mercy. Actually, that's his mercy, because you have to depend on him. And now you have this
Mhm.
this testimony of saying, I don't know where this name came from. I had to go through 3 names in the course of like a week.
Yeah.
But praise God, because you know that you didn't build this on your own, and
Mhm.
that the hand of the Lord is clearly on this business, this ministry, and I know that it is gonna bless so many women through, the cultivation of their faith, but also through the cultivation of their life and lifestyle, and in the desire to abide with the Lord throughout the day, whether that's in making breakfast or having a workout, or in that real in-depth intercession with the Lord. He's going to bring so many good things out of this website, out of your podcast. I'm just really excited for Faith and Gather and what the Lord is doing in here. So if people want to get a hold of you and want to head over to your website, your podcast, because I'm pretty sure it will be out by the time this podcast is released. Say all the things, Erica. Let us know where we can follow and like and subscribe and whatever. All the things.
Oh, thank you. You've been so kind. I appreciate that. It's pretty simple. So faithandgather.com is the
Faith and
website
Gather.
itself. Faithandgather.com is the website. And there you will find a bunch of great articles that were written by women just like you about their life stories. And I do have to put in a little plug. If you have a story that you want to tell, please do reach out. There's an area there that says, share your story and
So
get
cool.
connected. You can email Erica at faithandgather.com with that information. On Instagram and Facebook, it is at Faith and Gather. And then when the podcast is out, it should be out. It is faithinspiredpodcast.com, or on, iTunes or whatever you listen to your podcast, it'll be Faith Inspired Podcast. You will be able to find the podcast within the faithandgather.com as well. They'll be on the drop down that says podcast, and you can find all the goodies in the show notes there as well. But that's where you'll find us. I truly believe that it's
Mhm.
an us, not a me. It's a community. I'm
Yep.
just the vessel right now. I'm the hands and feet right now, but this is going to be something that's going to be many, many women are going to be able to have their hands and their feet in this, and then
Mhm.
build a community and get strength. And my tagline is, fight your other everyday battles and be one step ahead of the devil,
Ooh,
just in every area of your life. So that is
I
what
don't
I.
think I knew that little tagline. I
Oh,
love it.
yes.
I
Yeah,
love it.
you'll hear it in the podcast, the
Oh,
intro. But
fabulous.
yeah, I truly believe that this is going to be a place where women can come to
Yeah.
just fight their everyday battles and just really stay one step ahead of the devil, because he's hate to say he's out there to get us, but if we're doing something good, he doesn't want that to happen. And the Lord
Yep.
is not going to allow that. But um,
100%.
we need to arm ourselves with his word. We need to arm
Yes.
ourselves with individuals who are around us to support us to get through
Yep.
life, because God is good, but we need to continue to rely on him. And to do so, we need to lean into him. We
Yep.
need to lean into others who believe in him, and just keep continuing to get that good word.
Absolutely. Filling our eyes, filling our ears with the truth and the beauty of who God is and what he's done. It's so inspiring to hear testimonies, to read testimonies. That's why I love what you're doing in including these articles of other people's stories. The power of testimony builds faith in us,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Amen.
that's why I have this podcast, because when we hear these stories, we can say, oh, God did that for them. He might do that for me. And then we can continue to move forward and be refined. And again, go from glory to glory. It's amazing.
Yes, that's right.
So
Yes, he's so good.
thank you so much, Erica, for being on the podcast, for sharing your story and sharing about Faith and Gather. It means so much to me.
Oh, thank you, Ellie. I just so appreciate it, and the things that you're doing. And um, God's just been so good to both of us.
Amen. He certainly has. All right. Until next time, my dear.
Thank you. Bye.